Hello, everyone, and good afternoon. We're coming in at a different time today because my guest is calling from the UK, Sheryl Joyce, the founder and CEO of Pet Pardon. And I'm just waiting for her to arrive. And I want to give a shout out to Mama Cat. She's in the chat room. We're on the web going live. And hello, Barbara. So glad you could join us also. This is wonderful. But anyway, I want to go over a couple things before we do get started here. My name is Debbie Dahmer, aka Mama Bear. And Mama Bear is on the air because she really does care, everyone. And we're going to have another great show today. Next week, we'll be going back to 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central, 5 o'clock Mountain, and 4 o'clock Pacific. Listening worldwide, everyone, and you could share these shows right from the chat room. You can also you can interact in this chat room on the web, but you do have to sign up for an account on Podbean.com. And what you're going to do is go up in the upper right hand corner and press login. And then after that, it's going to create account. You'll need a full name or nickname, your email address, and create a password. Press the I'm not a robot and create account. And then what you're going to do is follow Voices Carry for Animals podcast. And you're in on the web. If you want to go into the Podbean podcast app and player, and join us every Thursday from there. You want to, it's a free download on App Store or Google Play under the Podbean podcast app and player, and then you just install it. And then what you're going to do is follow Voices Carry for Animals podcast. You will get alerted. All followers will be alerted every Thursday that the show is starting up, and you can press to join and join us in the chat room. This chat room is so awesome, everyone. And then just keep spreading the word. You can, in these chat rooms, you can interact with other listeners, and you speak to the guests, and just let me know when you want to speak on air, and you're more than welcome to come aboard. You just have to, try to refrain from any noises in the background, radios, TVs, conversations, and you can come on board. The more of us that come together, we are stronger for the animals, and our voices do matter because we are their only hope for better lives and futures, everyone. They don't have a voice. They are defenseless, helpless, voiceless, and innocent. So, what we have to do is take action for them and make it better for them. And I'm waiting for my guest to come on. And she is awesome. This is her first time, and we're going to be talking about massive crisis in animal shelters being over capacity, why animals are being euthanized for space. Pet Pardon's mission is to help raise awareness and save animals on death row at high kill shelters around the world. Adopt, don't shop. Help save healthy adoptable animals in shelters. There has been an increase in the number of fake rescue accounts. This is sickening, everyone, because who pays the price? The animals. So let's work together to get the animals out of harm's way, because that is what's needed. We have to keep, taking that action and, doing our thing. And main number to our state representatives and senators, and if you want to record this, is area code 202-224-3121. Okay. And we can go for there, and they'll ask for your zip code, and you just put your zip code in, and then you will get ask them to get connected with your state representative or senator. After hours and weekends, you can leave voicemails, okay? Or if you're more comfortable in writing an email, then you could go that, and so go that way. But it's very important because the politicians are the big dogs, okay? And we have to connect with them because they're the ones with the laws and everything. So I'm still waiting for my guest here. Um, I see that Joyce. I'm trying to, or Cheryl, I'm trying to. It says you're in the waiting room. Okay, there we go. We're going to be bringing her on. Yes, she got connected. This is a victory.
Hi,
So,
Debbie.
I'm going hey, how are you doing, Cheryl Joyce? This is
I'm
wonderful.
well. Sorry about
Yeah.
that.
Oh, no problem. Because I got a text from you, and you're in the waiting room. I didn't see you yet, so
That's
you are
okay.
in there. Yes.
I'm
Yes. So, welcome aboard. This is your first time, and I wanted to give Spencer Hodges a big shout out of Rebound Dog because he's the one that connected us, and he's also in the UK. He's a wonderful man. I'll tell you. He's and a friend too, and looking forward to have him back on there. You know
Yeah,
all that
he's
he
great.
does. Yes. So you want to go ahead and tell the audience and everyone, all like I said, all if you're coming late or miss these shows, you can always go back and listen to them. After the show, I have to download it, edit it, and then it'll be published. And you will get a notification, all followers, that the show has been published, and you can go listen and share 24/7. So, but go ahead. This is great, Cheryl. So great and honored to have you on. But go ahead,
Thank
tell the audience and how you got started, and a little bit later we'll give you the websites and all that stuff, your Facebook page. But go ahead.
Okay, great. Thanks. Thanks for having me on here, Debbie. I really appreciate it. My name's Sheryl Joyce, and I'm the founder and CEO of Pet Pardon. And I became entwined in the animal rescue world, around 2016. And I basically discovered an ecosystem of people that were sharing at-risk shelter animals on, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, name a social media venue, and basically I was very curious to find out what was happening. So one of the things that people were doing was pledging an amount of money in the comments, and I was very curious to learn what that meant. So I started reaching out. As it turns out, I was following a lot of rescue groups and a lot of volunteers that were sharing the animals. And there's a very short time frame for a dog to get out of a shelter when it's put on a euthanasia list, and I'll talk a bit more about that in a minute. But the pledging aspect. Was very interesting to me. A lot of people, obviously, like myself, I can't physically be on the ground to rescue a dog or even foster or adopt one of the dogs because a lot of the dogs I'm based in the UK. I'm Canadian, but I help animals in the US. So obviously, I'm here in the UK, and how else do we help? So people were pledging an amount of money to help a dog, and what that means is that if that dog gets rescued, that money's to go to a rescue group. But then, how do you curate all of those different indications of pledges across different social platforms? And so, I had the idea to create my app, which tracks pledges very early on when I started out in the community. And I just sort of, just from there, I created my app. So every dog that we share, we're mostly active on Instagram. We have quite a decent following on there. It's difficult. I have a small team, and it's difficult for us to manage. Facebook. We have an X, or I can't say X. I still say Twitter. Twitter. We have a TikTok account. So, but we've had the most traction on Instagram. So we try to sort of, capitalize on the number of followers we have on there. So every dog that we share on Instagram gets listed on our app, and just realize that there is a separate application that we drive people to pledge an amount of money. And what that does is it's effectively tracking monies for rescue groups. It saves them time when if they do rescue a dog, it saves them time from having to go through all of those different comments. We've got quite a few pledge people that pledge, and they will only honor pledges when when Pet Pardon has verified that that dog is safe and with a reputable rescue. So that's the high level. Hopefully, that's yeah.
Yeah, you got a lot involved there. I mean, it's just so much you're doing, and it's so inspiring and uplifting. Because all these animals need a chance. There's so many of them that even here in America, that's getting put down. a year. I've been reading approximately a million, all ages, and a big shout out to all these cross posters and networkers that's helping these animals get to, safety, to foster or, adopted. I mean, they're relentless. I got my group on Facebook, Voices Care for Animal Support Group, and then constantly there's animals on death row coming through there, and it's so
Yeah.
sad. I mean, so when they said, you'd love to see that safe, and then when you see that, oh no, they got killed, it's so heartbreaking. And it's like, what is going on here? We need to do better out there, everyone, because we're failing them so badly in so many areas. We'd love to see that animals, getting safe and adopted home, TLC home or foster or whatever. But there's so many that are killed every day.
Yeah,
So,
it's quite
oh,
heartbreaking. And just to clarify, we our
whoa.
target area is North America, so we are very in tune with what's going on in the U.S. And I'm very familiar. The I don't know if anyone knows this, but there's 5 states in the U.S. that account for almost, I think it's either just under half or just over half of the euthanizations of animals in the US, and that's California, Texas, South Carolina, Florida, and Georgia. And, it varies, it changes a lot. So with the rankings, so oftentimes it's California and Texas that are kind of neck and neck, but Florida, sadly, I'm sorry, Debbie, but Florida is really bad as well. And
I
so it's
believe it.
it's impo- it's impossible for we just can't rescue our way out of this. And when I started doing this, I had no idea of the magnitude and how many perfectly healthy animals are being put down. And there's, Debbie, you and I talked about this a little bit before the podcast. There's so many reasons why. And I think the one thing that I'm trying to do, and I mean, it's not just myself, there's an army of people. And as we say, it takes a village of people that are trying to educate the general public on what's happening. And sometimes I'm met with, oh, I don't want to hear it. It's scary. It's too sad. But turning your head away and putting your head in the sand isn't going to make this problem go away. And so the things I've learned from doing this for almost over 8 years now is that there's just a lot of contributing factors. And so this is what I was getting to, Debbie, is what you and I were talking about, is that backyard breeding is, I had no idea that even existed before I started in this. And it's quite sad that people are making money off of selling puppies, and if they can't sell them, they end up in the shelters. And it's the rescue groups, the people that are boots on the ground, are the ones that are picking up the pieces. And there's also the cost of vet bills. I mean, sure, everyone says, oh, you shouldn't have an animal if you can't afford it, but it's like, well, things sometimes happen. And there's, it's just the vet costs are becoming just way out of grasp. Spay neuter programs, there's not enough of them. I'm quickly going through reasons why there's overcrowding. Sometimes people have to surrender an animal, because they either go into the hospital or there's some extenuating circumstances. But there's quite a few people that just give up on animals and just dump them as well. And they just leave it to the shelter. And people get angry at the shelters. And I'll tell you, it's not right. It's a community problem. And the shelters are kind of left with holding, literally, like, shelters aren't meant to be a long-term, place for an animal to stay until it gets adopted, sadly. So, yeah, that's, just a few reasons why there's overcrowding. And my goal is to educate people on that. And just a whole bunch of other things happen to get just one dog out of the shelter as well. But I don't know if you have any thoughts on anything I've said, Debbie.
Hey, you're giving some very informative information, because it's education is the key, the awareness, what's going on. I looked at this and I said, Cheryl, I said, all of us, with adopt, don't shop, visit your local animal shelters, and give them animals a chance, even if it's fostering. and or go visit one, volunteer.
Yeah,
If you hear of someone that's looking for a new furry loved one or loved ones, encourage them to go to these shelters and help save a life and give it, bring it to a TLC home. That is so meaningful for both sides. You're rescuing them and they're rescuing you. You're
yeah,
coming together. And even if you lose your pet, and we all hate that, and we hate to go through it because I've been through so many times. But you look at it and you say, well, we know if you look at how long they live, we all know this, and it's best to go and that's what your furry loved one would want you to do. Not because I've heard several people, "Oh, no, I can't get no more. This is very hurtful and this and that." But you could help save a life and bring
it's
a
true.
new, you could, and there's so many getting put down. You know how happy. I mean, I remember when Sugar Bear was adopted. She came in as a stray over at the Humane Society, and they said she's been in there, in there 3 weeks, but they don't know how long outside of that. And they said that they think that she was abandoned because of the fact that she had puppies, and that sad and heartbreaking. And so when I looked inside the shelter, I yelled out so loud when Sugar Bear was adopted, and I yelled out, "I hope you all find TLC homes," and the workers heard that, and they put a smile on their face because they know what I'm talking about. That's no
Yeah.
place for them. Okay, that is a jail to them. They're safe, but it's no, you know, it's not comfortable for them. They're not getting no, they're not in the TLC home. They're not getting the closeness of being with a human, bonding, time together, you trust in that human, and so there's so many different aspects. So everyone out there, adopt, don't shop, because and then they check them all out. Okay, Sugar Bear was healthy in condition, no issues, and she's a big girl. She's an Alaskan Malamute, and she's
Oh, wow.
beautiful. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, and so she's happy. When she got to the home at first, she was kind of shy, but that's expected. And she was looking at me like, "Who are you, and where am I at?" So yeah, I look, I said, "I'm your new mommy, okay?"
You've
And
touched on a lot of great things there, Debbie. I'm just looking at Michelle saying the shelters don't have the resources. That's exactly right, Michelle. I
yep,
agree with you. They're understaffed, and a lot of these shelters are over capacity. So, for example, they may have kennels, capacity for 265 dogs, but I know for a fact that a lot of the shelters are running at overcapacity and they're having to kennel dogs together, and that creates issues. The dogs might not get along and that kind of thing. So it's just setting the dogs up to fail, but it's not the shelter's fault. And volunteers are very key with that. And I work with a lot of I using air quotes obviously because I'm not, I don't actually meet these people in person, but I've formed a lot of great relationships with volunteers who I think are very key in this whole ecosystem, because they do go in and they do spend time with the animals. They walk them, they try, and some of these animals just don't get out of their cages for 23 out of 24 hours a day. So it's heartbreaking all around, but there's just not enough, um, the animal control officers and the shelter workers and the volunteers. There's just not enough. It's just not possible to take all the dogs out. So that creates issues, and so I think people should. Fostering is one great way. Some of the shelters I know, in California, for example, and actually in Georgia, and I think Miami, have foster programs, so you can foster directly through the shelter. So you can kind of take a dog out and foster it and see how it goes. because I think a lot of times when people do adopt a dog, it's great, but the dog also needs to decompress, and I think that creates stigmas around shelter animals because they've been in jail. So there, I mean, I've never been personally in jail, so I can just imagine how what it does to one's mind, and animals are no different. They're sentient beings, so people need to give animals time to decompress. So I'm talking about a lot of different things here, but I guess I'm just getting to the fact that there's a lot of things that, a lot of components that need to come together to, to save an animal, to help animals. And fostering is actually one of the things that we bump up all the time. So yes, I do have an app that tracks pledges. So effectively, I'm raising funds to help a rescue group to get a dog out. But I mean, most of the rescues I work with are foster based, so that just obviously, most of the people I think on here know what that means. But for those of people that may listen to this later or are on here that don't know, is that they need to have a person that's going to take that dog under their care and foster through the rescue group that saves the dog from the shelter. And it's really difficult. There's a lot of components that need to come together, and fostering is one of the key ones. Yes, pledging and money is also important because the rescue groups take care of the vetting and the food and the toys and all that kind of stuff for the foster. But without a foster, there's simply no place for those dogs to go, and that's one of the issues that we're really bumping up against when we're trying. We're on we're basically on a timer, and most of these dogs, once they get their notice, they sometimes we only, we really don't know when the dog's going to be euthanized, which is really sad. But it's just a race against the clock always, and fosters are so key. So yeah, it's just it's heartbreaking, and resources are very, very strapped on all fronts.
Yeah, nothing's run by free, for free. It costs money for everything out there.
Yeah, yeah,
So
it's true.
and anyone in your area, these big or organizations, these big, huge organizations that have the shelters, go to your local ones because they need them too. It's very well worth it, and you're helping them out. They're helping the animals. Nothing is zero free. And then this inflation going on is causing a lot of problems here across the world. This infested greed disease that is spreading faster than COVID. Okay, price gouging going on. This is what us people are getting faced with. The vet bills are up, the food's up, the surgery's up, and on the outside here, we got all of ours. All if you look at it in your area or in your state, the rent is very high, the mortgages, the homeowners insurance, the property taxes, the food, the gas. This is all adding up, and not everybody's rich. And I've read articles where they're turning in their pets to the shelters
Yeah,
because they can't afford it anymore.
yeah,
So
yeah. And
yes,
to that as well, Debbie, you also sparked a thought as well, is that a lot of people live in their HOA. They won't allow certain breeds, and that's also becoming it's also a factor as well with the adoption rates are down, and a lot of animals also are just being turned in because all of a sudden they say it's for a landlord issue, and I don't think landlords should have so much say and input into into that. I think it's horrendous, but it's also a big problem as well. So
hmm,
Michelle's asking that, she said, should I donate to a rescue or shelter or the thrift store? Well, I personally, Michelle, I would research a rescue in your area, and I would donate to them. And shelters, I mean, most are funded, state funded, but I think even, well, it's up to you, but I would research a local rescue, and I would donate to them and maybe become a supporter. That's just my 2 cents.
yeah, and so sorry about your Don down there, Michelle. She's an awesome animal warrior sister. She's working as a team, and she's suspended on Facebook right now for 30 days. So I'm trying to help her through,
Oh,
'cause
geez.
I know 30 days. All right. So
Oh, gosh.
hang in there,
And I
Michelle.
love that you're a landlord, Michelle, and that you let your tenant have two dogs. I love that.
Isn't that
Yeah.
awesome? Yes,
Yeah.
yes. They should be allowed in there, you know. Michelle, your thoughts and prayers. I know it's never easy losing a furry loved one. I've been there one too many times, So rest in peace, Donnie. Because she's and one thing for sure, she's a great mommy to him, and that's what matters. He went out of here happy, you know,
Yeah.
and knowing. I mean, you're knowing it. There's so many that go out of here that there was miserable or, unhappy or abused, neglected. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's insane, and I'm also following a lot of people that are trying to keep dogs out of the shelter, and that's great as well, but that's another uphill battle because I mean there's so many people that are just dumping their dogs, tying them up outside the shelter and just leaving them in a park or whatever it is as well. But there are some groups that um are trying to keep animals out of the shelter, but they still have those same issues. They need fosters and rescues to take them under their organizations, and it's just I don't know what the well I think we all know what the answers are, but I think it's one of those situations where we need all those celebrities that love animals. We need them to all come together and lobby Congress, because it comes from the top, and there's just backyard breeding should be banned. I mean, I think there are some spay neuter laws in California. I think it's illegal not to have your dog spay or neutered, but if it's laws are only good when they're enforced. So, yeah, it's I'm just kind of, going off on a tangent, but there's lots of things that, really need to come. But I mean, for now, I think we take the wins when we can get them. And it's sad that, for every, three dogs you save, there's, 25 euthanized. And it's got to stop somehow. And we simply can't rescue our way out of this. And I know for a fact a lot of rescues are on intake holds, and some rescues that have been around for 10 or 25 years are closing down. And that's heartbreaking. And there's lack of funds, there's not enough fosters, and there's just too many dogs. And I know compassion fatigue is real. I experience myself, and I'm not even on the ground. So it's, there's just so many disheartening and sad things. Yeah, I agree, Michelle. We do have to ban breeders. And, there's so many people that are like, well, there's some ethical breeders, and I'm with you. Just ban them or put a moratorium on them for 5 years, and just let's stop, because it's really it's horrendous when what is it, French bulldogs I think are the most popular dog right now, and the number of purebred dogs that are being dumped because they can't sell them in shelters is mind-blowing. I have conversations with people all the time that, oh, I really want a doodle, and I'm like, well, you know what, like, there are doodles in shelters. You just have to do the research, and then the argument becomes, well, shelter dogs are broken, and then I just go off, because it's like, no, the dogs aren't broken. They're in circumstances that they didn't ask for, and you shouldn't really people need to go down and visit their local shelter and start there first. So I it's just it's an educational problem. It's misinformed, and I'm going to keep banging my drum till I have my last breath. So
hey, that's what we got to do. We got to be relentless. If they always said, hey, stand up for what you believe in, if it means standing alone, because sooner or later somebody's going to listen, and that's so
yeah.
true. When
Yeah,
Mama Cat, a former guest and a great friend, she says strength in numbers, and I said that's so true.
it
The
is
more
true.
of us that come together, and we are better and stronger together than apart. So we gain strength then, and that's what it takes. We have to, never give up, never give in. Just be relentless, and because We are the only hope for animals, lives and futures. They can't do it themselves. They are relying on us, and they especially thank us when their lives and futures turn for the better. So we got to keep it up, and it makes us happy because we're seeing changes being made, and we know we're not spinning our wheels or blowing out steam. With this podcast a couple weeks ago, Cheryl, was 500 podcasts. Isn't that something already?
Wow.
And over 11 years on air. We started from Marty Oakley, TS Radio Network. I was her co host for the first 6 or 7 shows. Then she made me host, and she sadly passed away April 1st of 2023. And her shows are still going from her, all the hosts, which I think is great because she stood up for a lot of different hot issues: elder abuse, guardianship abuse, all this. And so they keep going. There's 3 of them. Isn't that wonderful?
That's
So
amazing.
yes, and Marty helped me to get Animal Advocates Radio together, Voices Care for Animals, set it up and everything on Blog Talk Radio, and we stayed in contact. We were always in contact and everything. And then I got the sad news, and it was heartbreaking. I really, may she rest in peace, but she was the grassroots, and here I am, 502 shows later. I'm still
That's
doing this.
amazing.
I wish.
Congratulations. That's wonderful.
Thank you. Yes, I'm going to keep going, like you said, to my last breath.
Yeah,
you
it's
know?
true.
Yes, as long as I'm
I
living on
I
this earth. Yep.
I agree with you, Barbara. I see that shelter dogs are not broken. I 1000% agree with you, and it's true. And they are stressed, and they absolutely need compassion. And so that kind of leads me into, there's we talk about the no kill movement, and there's a narrative, and I shall not name big names, but there's a narrative created, and they're calling it No Kill LA. And so what's happening is that if a shelter has a 90% live release rate, they're considered no kill. And so I believe that if a dog is suffering beyond and cannot be helped, that is a true definition of euthanasia. That is not what's happening, as we all know, in shelters at the moment. And so this no kill LA has created this false narrative in the public that, oftentimes I'll share a dog, and someone will say, "Well, I thought this is a no kill shelter," and I was like, "There's absolutely no such thing as a no kill shelter. There might be a couple in the U.S., and someone can correct me, and if I'm misspeaking, but the fact that this narrative has been created has created a lot of issues because people don't understand that 90% live release rate is what is considered no kill. A shelter can be considered no kill. The other 10%, they can be put into medical or behavioral. So they're labeled medical or behavioral, and then that's their way of justifying killing the dogs. But the shelters will often say that will tell the general public, well, we don't euthanize, and it's simply not true. So the point I'm getting at is that this narrative that's being created again is tricking the public into thinking that everything's sunshine, roses, and unicorns if they have to give up their animal to a shelter, and that's simply not the case. So that's just one thing that I will always continue to tell people. And of course, getting to Barbara's point is that they are stressed, and it's called fear, anxiety, and stress. And oftentimes the shelter notes will say the dog has developed FAS, fear, anxiety, stress. Well, of course they have, because they're locked up in a kennel. We're seeing some of these power breeds like Belgian Malinois, and pit bulls and huskies and all the larger breeds that are, need a lot of exercise, are just, they're going crazy in their kennels. So they're being mislabeled and euthanized because they're just going out of their mind. Um,
It's not easy on them for sure. In the same spot and hardly get out and enjoy and run and play. And, it's no place for them. They needed a TLC home,
yeah.
like all of them.
So
Yeah.
Sorry, Debbie. Sorry, Michelle. Are you asking is the government behind the no kill? That's actually there you go. Here you go. I saw you say that. It's to be honest, I it's a big I can't per se certain it's the government, but I know for sure it's like a big organization in I think they're based in Utah. I think is their big corporation. I don't want to get myself in trouble. But yeah, if you just Google no kill LA, the organization will come up. I just don't want to be slandering on here openly, but I mean I am mentioning it just because of the miseducation and misinformation that's being shared about that. So yeah, that's right, Michelle. No Kill LA. Yeah.
No
So
kill LA. Yep.
yeah. And they're an organization. All these big organizations make so much money, and there's so much administrative, monies that have to get paid first, and the animals end up getting, a small percentage of that. So yeah.
Yep. So we gotta, keep going, everyone, and try to do our best to help these animals because we don't want to keep, every year because this stuff has been going on year after year, decade after
Yeah.
decade. Okay, we're going. It didn't just start up in 2025 or 2020 or 1990. It's been going on for so long, and it look we're failing them. It's just hit a million approximate that get put down. Now that's just the United States. This
Yeah.
is this is terrible. I mean, it is. Oh, I can't believe it. It's shocking. So we can all do better because these animals, and from all angles, they don't have a choice. We are their only hope to carry on and to get them to save, get them out of harm's way, let them live their lives in peace and comfort and freedom, not just be stressed out, high anxiety, living in quarters where they can't don't have no room to move. I mean, it's like, whoa. Maybe they'll have a toy or something in there, or water and this that, but they deserve more than that. That's jail to them.
Yeah.
It's
It's
jail,
definitely jail.
period. Yep. And some of them don't ever get out. They die in that place, And so if you help that animal out, push that share button out there because that's so important. The like and all that love button that doesn't serve no justice. Just like with Pet Pardon, check their website out, share it. They're on the app. I mean, that is awesome that you had that and you go worldwide. Isn't that wonderful? It's
Yeah,
like,
thank you. That's that
yes,
I appreciate that. And I mean the thing as well is that whether a dog, sometimes we get asked to share a dog that's is on the youth list the same day, and people will kind of go off on us sometimes, and why are you sharing this dog so late and everything else. And I said, because you never know, there's might be someone out there that can go down, sometimes it happens. Someone will see a post, and they will go down to the shelter and they'll adopt the dog, or they'll offer to foster. And sometimes plans do come together at the 11th hour, but it does happen. But I mean, you just got to keep doing what you're doing. And like, like I said, we can't save them all, but we can certainly try. But it's just become, it's at a crossroads now. I mean, it's, you know at a crossroads for quite a while. And it's just something's got to give. And like I mentioned earlier, shelters or excuse me, rescues are absolutely beyond capacity. And these backyard breeders and all these other factors leading up to these dogs in the shelters, it's always on the rescue groups to pick up the pieces. And it's just not fair. And I wish more people would offer to foster. I saw a statistic the other day that 2% of pet owners, and I suppose we're talking about in the US, um only 2% of pet owners will offer to foster a dog. Now, I understand that. It's difficult. If you've already got a pet, you have to let a shelter pet decompress, and sometimes that means separating them and that kind of thing. But I mean, it's so worth it. It's absolutely, the saying is you foster a dog, you're opening up a space for another dog to come in and saving, maybe giving that other dog a couple more days for people to come together to help the dog. So yeah.
Yeah, help out in any way you can. Every effort counts to get them better lives because they're unconditional love. And
Yeah,
when you bring them to the home, they're your new furry loved ones. They're part of the family. They're to spend time with them and pet them and talk to them. You're gonna feed them and give them water anyway. Get them checked out because you can't go wrong. I mean, having pets is the right way to go. And if you know somebody that's up there in the elderly or that they're alone, encourage them to get a furry loved one, cat, dog, rabbit, whatever, and it'll help them out. Because loneliness is terrible out there. And then they need company, and the pets give them unconditional love. Spending time with them, that changes their life around. So encourage them and you hit your nearest animal shelter because you can just
yes.
Google search, for it to look where it's at.
I tell
But
people that all the
yes,
time is to check out your local shelter, because I mean, we do, me and my team share animals. We get asked to share a lot of animals and to help, raise money for these particular animals across the US, and it's just impossible. But, sometimes someone will see a dog that we're posting from California and they're from Texas. And I'm like, listen, you have your own issues in Texas. It's very admirable that you want to try to save this dog in California, but please go down to your local shelter and try to find a dog there. Now,
right.
I know, certain states have certain breeds that may not be available to, say, that person in Texas, but it's just one of those things where, start local and then kind of go about things that way. But, hitting the share button is very helpful as well. You just never know who in your network is going to see a dog that you're sharing.
That's right. Now, even on I see it going through X. I see them going through Facebook, LinkedIn. I mean, they're
Yeah,
all so many ways, and you won't have to go to the shelter. They're right there if they're in your area. Take a look at them. Go visit them, and if it's not the right one for you, hey, keep going. Don't give up
it's
and
true.
give them animals a chance. So say, oh, I just checked out five. I can find one. No, keep going. Because you never know. And encourage, hey, your family members or neighbors or coworkers. Just explain to them. Say, hey, listen, and let them know because they might not know this major crisis in the United States,
That's
what's
right.
going on. So and inform them, educate them, what's going on, what's happening, how many healthy adoptable dogs and cats is getting put down a year for overcrowding. So and adopt, don't shop, spay and neuter your pets. We have to get some control here because right now it's totally out of control.
Yeah.
And it just
Yeah.
didn't start up. It's going on for years, so something's got to give. Cheryl, something's got to give
It's
here.
it's
Yeah,
true, and I know that I don't know if anyone knows Stand Up for Pits Foundation. They're a great organization. They've been, doing this for 15 years, and I think they've just launched a some kind of lawsuit in against the city of LA. So we'll see what happens there. But if you're not following, or you don't know about Stand Up for Pits, you should look into following. Her name's Rebecca Corey, and she's going to shake things up. If anyone can, she will. So yeah. I like this Mama Cat. Yeah, definitely. A lot of volunteer transport groups. I see that all the time. People offering, and I try to donate money to them for gas. when I can. I'm self-funding, and I basically, all the money goes back into my application, and I do help out, some rescue groups that I know personally, as well. And yeah, I love that, because there are lots of people, there are people that are willing, um, to come together, and that's one aspect. It's so important. And I actually know a company called Dubert that has an online platform that you can sign up to volunteer to take a dog, drive a leg of a dog to get the dog to a place where there's adopters, or a shelter that can take on some dogs from another overcrowded shelter. So yeah, there's definitely do that too.
Yes.
I wish I could transport dogs and cats, Mama Cat. I'm just not on the ground. So I try my best to raise the money and spread awareness, and help in other ways. But I truly wish I was, on the ground, to be able to do that.
Yeah, but you're doing a lot there, Cheryl. You're doing, you're so what everything you're doing. You're amazing what you're doing, and
Oh,
keep it
thank
up.
you. There's obviously, there's lots of people doing a lot of great things, and that's what I love about social media, is that it just brings together. I mean, I call so many people friends that I've never met in person, on social, and it's wonderful. People can DM, and you just feel like you're talking to, because it's all for the same purpose. So it's really great that there's so many people doing so many things, behind the scenes. And I guess that's a good segue into, and I'm sure that most of the people, or everybody on here, probably knows what goes on behind the scenes, but a lot of people don't realize just how much time and effort it takes to rescue just one animal. And there's so many different things that need to come together. There's obviously, you got to get a rescue, but I mean, like I said earlier, without fosters, it's really, you can't really, rescues, if they don't have a place for the dog to go, you just can't expect them to pull a dog with no plan. And so, obviously, finding a foster, and no pun intended, vetting the foster. So one of the things that me and my team do is that we'll often get people messaging us about a dog we've shared, that they say they want to foster. Now, I'll be honest, the one out of, I don't want to be so cynical, but a lot of times people have good intentions, and they say they want to foster, and then they just don't. They just kind of fall off the face of the earth. So 1 out of 10 people are legitimately, real and interested in helping a dog if they can. So we have a foster application in our link tree on Instagram, and it's just 10 questions that that we try to, because things happen so quickly, that we try to gather as much information as we can when we reach out to a rescue, to say, listen, we've got this person who isn't located too far away from you guys. They can go pick the dog up. And they don't have other animals, and we just kind of do some behind the scenes kind of, questions with that interested foster, so that helps the rescue save time. So that's something that we do as well. We used to get involved a bit more in the whole process, but I'll tell you, it's we work with people who like to do that. We can help with fosters, we help raise the funds, but then there's other people that are frantically, transporting and doing all the other stuff. So it really, we stay in our lane, and I'm happy to pass off, fosters to rescues, if and then it's over to the rescue. The rescue should then take on the task of vetting that foster, because ultimately that foster is going to be working with their organization directly. So but yeah, I just want to, I don't think people realize, that stuff. So but there's also, something that I wanted to bring up as well, which might seem a bit random, and I'm sorry I'm talking so much and just kind of
No,
blithering away
you're
here.
fine. You're fine,
But
Cheryl.
so
So
one of the things,
informative. Yeah, go ahead.
thank you. One of the
Everything's
things,
important.
thank you. One of the things that, sadly, okay, there's too many dogs, and rescues simply can't, continue to pick up the pieces. But funds are low, and one thing that I've seen over the past 3 4 years is that there are people that are, I'll use the word steal. So, say, for example, a volunteer goes down to a shelter and takes video of a dog. They share that video, and I always, when we share, we repurpose content, existing content. We don't take credit for the video. We give the person, the volunteer, attribution to the video. And so, but there are people that are creating accounts, stealing videos from these volunteers and not giving the volunteers attribution, and trying to solicit money for that dog when they're not in the same country, and they're basically tricking people to think that they've saved this dog. And it's become a big problem. We have someone who's impersonating us. I finally just got their Instagram account taken down after a year and a half fighting with Instagram. Someone has created a Venmo account in Pet Pardon's name. And we're in the UK. We can't have a Venmo account. So we're fighting with Venmo. So the point is that it's diverting funds away from the rescues that are doing the work, and it's a real problem. And I just want people, I know we're meant to be talking about overpopulation and that kind of thing, but it just kind of all pieces together with respect to lack of funds. And who in the end are the ones that lose out? It's the animals, and that infuriates me. And I just wanted to bring that to everyone's attention. And I will be doing a blog post on LinkedIn about this, because I think it's something that people need to know as well. Because giving money to an animal, it's very emotive, and I'm schooling people all the time. I already spend 8 hours a day on social media,
Wow.
and as it is, just myself personally, and so to have to school people and tell them, look, like, this isn't a legitimate rescue. These people don't exist. Here's things to look out for. So I just wanted to bring that up as well, because I think it's important. That we all, I do donate money, but I make sure it's to people I know, rescue groups I know. I do my research. I tell people all the time, just please don't blindly give your money to a person that says they have a dog. And I'm seeing it more and more and more. And there's a lot of these accounts are based in Uganda, and there's a small group of people that are capitalizing on it. And I'm calling out Uganda because that's where they're all based. And they're also doing some other awful things. And they have these shelters where they say that, they have um, they've got these dogs and cats. They've got a shelter, and they don't. They basically rent. I use that word in the true sense. They're renting the dogs and time to video the dogs at this one shelter, and it's disgusting. And they're making so much money. So I'm going to put in here, please follow this account on Instagram. We won't be scammed. I need to give her a shout out because she's based here in the UK, and she was scammed out of thousands of pounds. And she has made it her mission to, yeah, to kind of curate information. And I hope that she gets these people shut down, because it is having a knock-on effect on donations for legitimate rescues. And I'll stop there about that. Rant
Yeah.
over.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's not right. I mean, to do that, so to bring up attention, do something about it. In order to see change, you got to take action. You have to buck up against them, say, hey, no, this is not right. And you're ruining for everybody else, right? I mean,
Yeah,
it's sickening. And so what you're doing is right, because our animal friends need our help. And then
yeah.
when we get blocked by idiots like that, then you know what I'm saying? It takes it away, and the animals always pay the price every
Yeah,
single
I've
time.
never seen
Yep.
anything like it. I'm flabbergasted. And it's so easy on Instagram just to change your name and to, again, like I said, someone was impersonating us trying to solicit donations, and I had no idea until someone messaged me and said, what's your Venmo? And I'm like, I don't have a Venmo. And they're like, well, this person says, it's just disgusting. I'm just one small, account. And because they felt that, they could solicit money because of what we do, what Pet Pardon does, people were believing them. And I have no idea how much money, we don't take donations. We, and so it's just taking money out of, it just infuriates me. And it's just, I can't, what does the world become,
Exactly. They have to watch our backs from all angles. I just had a credit card at the beginning of the week that got hacked. So
Oh
when I
gosh.
called them, and the woman told me right then and there, because it said it was a scam, and I'm like,
Ugh.
uh oh. And how did when your phone, your computer, your iPad's heavily protected, okay, and then this happens. What is wrong with this picture?
I
What
know it's
more do I have to do? But it got account got closed down, send a new card. What do they do to these people? I mean, it's not. I'm not alone. It's happened. All these hackers, aka losers, need to get a life and leave us
oh yeah.
alone. They
Yeah.
need to
It's
get a life. Okay,
well, yeah,
you know,
it's true, and it's just
terrible.
it just infuriates me when I have to, a lot of my I sent out an email to my pledgers, just telling them, like, just please do not randomly give money to people if people are damning, because that's the benefit. Now I'm going to be a little pluggy here, but that's the benefit of using my app, is because people are putting an amount of money in the open comments on social media. And so my app, if you do that, it's private. I don't, I do not, uh, I obviously don't give out names of the people that pledge on my app. And, I send them proof. I research the rescues. Once a dog's been rescued, I research the rescue group to make sure they're in good standing. And, sometimes I hear things, being part of the kind of, not really, just kind of the background ins and outs of the rescue. Sometimes I know from volunteers, just things about certain rescues, and you just kind of go red flag, red flag, red flag. And that's the benefit of using my app, is that you just, you get notified by email by me or someone on my team that a dog's been rescued. The rescue group is, legitimate. Here's a freedom post, and here's how to honor your pledge directly to that rescue group. And it alleviates a lot of stress, but the thing that's happening is that because people are still saying in open comments that they'll pledge a certain amount of money, these scammers are trolling accounts like mine, networking accounts. They're totally in tune with what's going on social media, with all the dogs being shared from the shelters, and they are soliciting people, and I catch them daily on other people's, and I'm like, why are you bugging this person who's said that they would pledge $50? And they'll say, it's just their words they use, that they're not legit. And then I know that they're DMing people, because I tell people all the time, listen, if you're not sure if this person's legitimate, just ask. And so I've been getting a lot of messages, and I'm like, no, they're scam, block, 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 block. So it's, I try to do my best, but I try to have to stay focused on, the ultimate underlying reason I created the app. But it's just, that's what happens. Things evolve into other things, and social media is such a way for people to scam people out of money, and it's happening, and it's just infuriating, and the animals lose out, which makes me even madder. So
Oh yeah, I know what you mean. They need to flat out get a life. How could they be so cruel and heartless? And these animals need our help. And I forgot to mention I was hacked on Facebook the other day, so I've had
oh
about two
gosh.
two in a week. But
Oh,
everything's and Facebook is so hard to communicate with. They don't have a phone, this and that.
oh, you can't get through, no.
Oh my god! I mean, they'll suspend me in a heartbeat where I lost count. I can't even remember how many times it's up there. But to communicate with no phone, you can't. They won't answer you in an email. Like appeal it or report a problem, and it's terrible. It's like we need help here. They'll suspend you for sharing, in the groups too fast. That's for I told them it's for speeding. So I have to slow down. And I have. So, I hope I don't get suspended again, because that again takes time to help the animals.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it. What is wrong with it? Go after the cyberbullies, the hackers, all them, the criminals, because the Facebook lets anybody in. They don't care. They don't do background checks, criminal background checks.
Yeah,
So with strangers, you don't know who you're dealing with. So everyone beware of fake rescue accounts, okay?
that's right.
Be aware. Do a little bit of homework, okay? It's not going to take you that long. It's better than donating to somebody you have no clue who they are. They're a stranger be sitting
Well,
behind a computer and they're going to and hacking you or trying to get you to donate, get your information, and it's not right.
well,
So do some homework. Yep.
I'll tell everyone a few tips to look out for.
Yes,
And
please.
a lot of times their bio is there's a lot of spelling mistakes in the bio. The address that they provide in the bio is they clearly don't know anything about the United States. There's one that was like they gave some address in Florida, but it was like North Florida, comma Missouri. I'm like, really? So,
Mm,
and if it doesn't seem right, it's not right. They almost always have a link to a PayPal account in their bio. They will always direct people to pay to the PayPal link in their bio. Um, Anybody that's sharing shelter animals in the US, which we do, there's always a shelter address and contact information for the shelter and a dog ID number for the dog. And most of these accounts don't provide that information, and they'll steal a video of a dog in a California shelter, and they'll say, "Oh, we just rescued this dog," and then I'll always say, "Well, where's the dog?" And then they block me, and then that they're not legit. So there's so many things to look out for, but I just wish people would just slow down, take their time, ask questions, and if it doesn't feel right, it's not.
that's right. If it just it take that little bit of time because it's worth it to
Yeah.
know. I had what was a couple weeks ago. Somebody I get fundraisers coming through my messenger, and I question them like anything. Okay,
Yo, sure,
and
yeah.
I mean, they think, hey, that I'm a cop or something. You know what I mean? Because I will ask her questions like, and I had this one, and I was asking her questions. She's trying to collect money because she was living in a car. She lost her home, and two cats. I don't know this woman from anywhere. Okay. And
Right.
she just made friends with me on Facebook. And so I started asking questions. You said 3 months you're driving around in your car. You need car insurance for number one. You need gas, right? And so I'm asking these different questions, and I'm having a red flag go off. Okay,
Right.
and oh, I need a motel to stay and this and that. And then she said, well, could you share it for me? And I said, I'm going to ask you some questions first. Okay. I just do, start talking to you. You're now a cyberspace friend. Okay. Never met you in my life. Never seen you. I have no clue what you look like. You could hand over fake pictures in a heartbeat. And I started asking her questions and she didn't like it. She was getting mad. Okay, I could tell through
Re-
online.
Red flag.
A red flag.
Yeah.
And then she got mad because I didn't donate. I'm like, whoa, do you think I have time all day? You think I'm rich and I have time to donate to all of you guys and share the posts and everything?
Yeah.
You know what I
I
mean?
don't
So,
we
whoa.
don't I don't share
Uh,
any
yep.
kind of fundraisers unless I know the rescue group.
Yep.
Yeah, it's yeah.
Isn't that sickening? And then she gets mad at me because I didn't donate. And she says, I don't have to let anybody know anything because I was getting her to put more in that post about what's going on.
Yeah,
She
it's
got mad at
terrible.
me. And all of a sudden, she blocks me, right? All boo hoo. I'm
Red
losing.
flag.
you
Red
know,
flag, Debbie.
I was like, uh-oh, so I knew right then and there, and it's always good to ask questions. Let me have some
Yeah.
references. Let me see what's going on. And why are you gonna get mad? Because I've asked you to put more information on that GoFundMe, for other people to see. I said, because I was giving her advice to get to, to help, for get her help and
Yeah.
she was like going around it, or I already know that, or I did that. But I was like, she when she blocked me, it was like good. bam, wrote her off like a tax deduction.
Oh, good for you.
Yep.
Well,
I said,
I guess yeah, it's crazy what people will try. And again, it's ultimately the animals that lose out. But, I think just to leave with a couple of thoughts. Like everyone thinks that they can't help. And I think, we've been saying through this, to share and hit your local rescue and your local shelters if you have, some time to donate. Shelters, excuse me, rescues also need volunteers. They need help with applications and things like that. And yeah, and obviously, just buyer beware. I mean, it's sad that we have to talk about scammers on a podcast about helping animals in shelters, but it's just something that I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, just because it's just part of the evolution of social media and a way for people to take advantage of animals, and it just infuriates me. So, people all the time, I don't know how to help. I'm like, well, why don't you just, again, go down to your local shelter, share a post, give $1, even $1 helps. But just again, just people need to sort of do their own research and make sure that who they're donating to is in good standing. And if you start asking questions about a dog and they start getting cagey with you, then that's a red flag.
oh yeah,
But yeah, so yeah.
yep, definitely. And Cheryl, you ready to take some calls? Because
Oh,
I'm
sure, yeah.
I'm going to run until 4:30. If that's fine. I've been going hitting like 2 hours, and I'm exhausted at the end.
Oh gosh, yeah.
We've been going like this has been going on. Not every show's 2 hours, but I'm gonna try to keep people's attention, and because when you hit
Yep,
2 hours, it's like, whoa, that's a lot, so
yep,
ready to
yep,
fall on my face, So if
yep. Nope,
anybody
that's fine.
wants to speak to Cheryl Joyce, the founder and CEO of Pet Pardon, you're more than more than welcome to come on board. And thank you for all you new listeners out there that's in this chat room on the web. It's so great to see you. They're all in the house, coming in, keep spreading the word and getting it out there. Because the more of us that come together, the faster the changes. It takes a village, but we can do it. I'm looking
Yep.
for 100,000 followers. You think I can get it?
Oh
So
yeah,
keep
you'll get it,
spreading.
Debbie. You'll
Yeah,
get it.
all good time. That's a
Yep.
goal. Not just followers, but action takers is my goal.
Yep. Yeah.
That
It's
is where
true.
it's at. Okay,
Yep.
you
I
can have
agree.
record amount of downloads just listening and listening. But if you don't take action, what good is it? How are you going to improve things, right? You got to look at it
Well,
and say, hey, I got to be a voice out there. I got to take that action because my voice does matter. So we have to do that, everyone. So I'm gonna try to get 100,000 followers
well, I
by.
will help you. I will help you do that.
Oh, yeah, yeah, you rock this, Cheryl, and everybody else out there.
Well,
Help me too.
if anyone wants to get involved, or have more questions, I'm going to put my email here in the chat, and if anyone wants to reach out, please do. And like I said, I spend 8 hours a day on Instagram. So if you want to follow Pet Pardon on there and DM me, I'm always on there as well. And I do try to, I get lots of DMs, but I do try to, answer all of those as well. But yeah, if anyone has any, just email me if you have any more questions about the app or what I'm trying to do, or if you want to help out. Unfortunately, I have no paid positions at the moment, but if you want to get involved, just let me know.
Hey, that's great. And on Facebook too. Go and follow them on Facebook. And share it. That's even better yet. Follow and share. That's just like my Voices Care for Animals podcast on Facebook. Hey, go and follow it and then share. Because once this show's over with today, and I go and download it and edit and publish it, it's going to have all the links in there that you need from her. So Keep spreading the word, not just say, okay, goodbye, boom, gone. Help out in any which way you can. Because I know Cheryl, really appreciates any kind of support she got,
I
from
do.
Instagram to Facebook to the website. I checked everything out. You got it going on there, Cheryl. You got it
Thank
going
you.
on. You got it
It's a
happen.
lot. It's a lot.
Hey, it's never easy, okay? I know, I'm there. I just try to Marty Oakley, her website, the PPJ Gazette. I inherited that from her for somehow when she passed away. But she has there's a main password, but I'm added to it as author and all that, so I can post and she added my site. But the main password, we can't get it. I can't get it at all.
Oh
So I'm
dear.
trying to get that up and running again. You know, and so I just added more. To get the word out there. Mama Bear's on a roll, okay? And the Mama Bear is on a roll, and will not
Well, I
stop.
appreciate you having me on
Yes.
here, Mama Bear.
Catch me if you can.
I'm trying.
Yeah,
I appreciate it a lot.
yep,
And this has been really great.
yes. And everybody wants to speak to her. Go ahead and in the chat room and say you want to speak. And I'm usually on the app, so this chat room is different from the one on the
Oh,
app.
sorry about that.
No, no, it's all right. I have to keep
See,
running it.
you gotta learn, Mama Bear. You gotta learn the web too.
Exactly. Because I know when I one time at the beginning, back in February, no, it was March, I had the chat room. I tried to start the chat room on the app and the web, and that shut down the show. So I learned real quick.
Oh dear. Okay.
Yep. All right, Mama Cat, you got any? There she is. I wonder where Mama Cat was. You got
I'm
roaming
here.
around. Meow. How are you? Former guest of Cheryl from
Hi, Mama Cat.
Yep.
Hi,
She's
Cheryl.
always
How are you doing?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I wanted to say thank you for all the hard work you're doing for our critters.
Oh, thank
Um,
you.
it each one we can't do everything. None of us can. But if we each just take something of ourselves, the strongest piece, and put that into your advocacy, that's you'll find your niche. Some
Yep.
people transport, some people fundraise, some people
Yep.
networks. Like me, I work with feral cats, so
Oh God,
I
bless
do
you.
all my own everything.
Oh
Um, I
geez.
I don't want other people involved because that's when the nails come out, and
Yep.
it's just too much hassle. I
Yep.
don't fundraise on any platform. I have one source of funding,
Okay.
and that's the way I keep it.
Yep.
Um, it's just there's a lot of backstabbing in rescue.
Oh
You know what I
gosh, don't
mean?
get me started,
yes.
Mama Cat. Oh
Yeah.
my
And
goodness.
so I just find that I'm able to make a bigger impact if I just do it myself.
Yep. And
Now
that's yep.
I don't do everything. Like I have a set amount of fosters that do that part because my
That's
house
great.
is like full and then
Oh,
some.
bless you. Bless
We
you.
built a 24-foot long patio outside the windows so the cats can go in and out
Oh, that's
because,
amazing.
you know, had to make more room.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's great. What's your are you on Instagram, Mama Cat, or what's your
No,
where no, you're not no.
no, I'm
Are you
on Facebook,
Facebook?
Ray
Okay.
Bittner. I'm Ray
Okay.
Bittner.
If you want to follow Pet Pardon
I, wa- I might
on
already
there.
be there.
I'm sorry?
I might already be on that. I'm not sure. It sounds real
Yeah,
familiar.
okay. Yeah, because there's a Pet Pardons, but there's I'm Pet Pardon.
With right.
So or you yeah, or you can, follow my personal account. It's whatever. Yeah. I'd love to connect with you and see if there's anything, I know that you said you like to do stuff yourself, but if there's anything I can do like to share or just even
Oh,
help you out with
I
raising
don't
money.
do. I'm just talking about the feral cat part
Yeah,
that I
yeah,
do
yeah.
by
Yeah.
myself. I
Yeah,
do a
no, I
lot of
understand. Yeah.
other stuff.
Okay.
Um, you know, with other rescues, Happy Cat Haven here in town, and the Mill Dog Rescue.
Okay,
I'm not worried about any of that. I just, as far as the cats go,
gotcha.
it's,
Yeah,
for me, that's how, but that's how everybody has to approach this. What works for you?
yeah,
Because like
you're
I
right.
said, we can't all do everything,
Oh
or
God,
it would be
you will burn out faster than we already are if
right.
we're
And if we could
if
do that, we wouldn't need everybody because, well, we would have
yeah.
taken care of it already,
Yeah, I learned real quick. When I first started out, I started as a networker, and then I quickly evolved to a pledger because the networking I felt like I wasn't really adding. I thought I was just, not really
Right,
doing much because I didn't know many rescue groups, and I was pissing the ones off by tagging them on every dog.
right.
And so I evolved into a pledger, and then I just thought, you know what, I'm gonna and then you just kind of I was in so many chat groups trying to save a dog, and I was up all hours of the night. My husband's like, you have to go to sleep, you have to go to work. And I was going to bed at 3 in the morning, getting up at 6, going to my corporate job, and rinse and repeat. So I just had to
Oh,
just tell people, listen, like, I really can't get that involved with trying to find a foster and a rescue. So as to your point, I found my niche, and I just feel like there's a need somehow, some way, to curate all the pledging that's going on, because there's a lot of lost money for good rescues that just don't have the time
right.
to track down all those pledges. So I've been doing this since 2020, and I'm still going at it, but I'm not going to give up. So
No, don't give up. You're doing great. Um, there was
thank you
something
very
else I
much for that.
wanted to say, but
I'm sorry I interrupted you. I'm sorry.
that's all right. I was just thinking out loud. There was something else I
Okay.
wanted to tell you, but I can't think of what it was.
Well, if you think of it, you can message me through Facebook. There you
Oh,
go.
I do know of one out of all the shelters I've dealt with across the whole United States. There's one shelter that is 100% no kill. And
Yeah.
I've only found one, and
Yep.
it's the Fremont County Shelter in Canyon City, Colorado.
That's it. You're right. I knew there was at least, less than five, and you're right. Colorado is one that's no kill. I think actually a friend of mine, well, she became a friend through on here. I think she had told me that she sadly passed away, so she was helping dogs there as well. But yeah, you're right. And yeah, and when I was saying that, I knew that there's got to be one, at least a true no kill somewhere. So
I just love that place. And, Doug Ray is his name.
okay.
Um, and he has gone all over the United States trying to teach and help people and let them know you can obtain
There,
this. I mean, they
sure,
had a
yeah.
kill rate of like 40% before he took
Wow.
that place over. And
Jesus.
within a year, they were 100% no kill
Well,
unless the animal was suffering
yeah,
to a degree that they could not be saved.
yeah, and that's the real, as we know, the real definition of euthanasia, and that's when it's just not humane to keep the animal suffering because they can't, there's nothing that can be done. So, but yeah, I mean, I feel there are solutions, and I just don't know why, the powers that be just, I don't know. I could go on for hours about my
Oh, yeah.
conspiracy theories, but
And it
uh,
doesn't always start in the shelters. It's
no.
people people getting animals. My philosophy is first to last breath. So that pretty much covers, that. But
Yeah.
so many people, it's an instant world, instant gratification. So today I want a dog, tomorrow I don't,
Yeah, no, it's
you
true.
know.
And we're such a throwaway society.
Yeah,
It's, oh, the dog peed on the floor. And it's like, well, did you train the dog? Like, do you expect your child to be potty trained when they're born? No. It's just that kind of mentality. And it's just so ridiculous and infuriating that people are just like, well, I'm just going to dump the dog back. And it's like, you've had the dog for a day. And I've seen that a lot.
right. I have
And
too.
it's disgusting. We could go on for
Yeah.
days, couldn't we?
I mean, we have a new puppy. We lost 4 dogs in a year's time.
Oh,
And
I'm
we
sorry.
Sad.
thank
What
you.
did mama
We
do?
ended
Yeah.
up with a new puppy. And that you cannot turn your back on that dog. If there is a remote control anywhere, and you don't look at it every second, she will have it. It
Oh,
will be out
jeez.
in what we call the killing field, and she just tears them apart. So today I had to order, instead of ordering just one new remote, because she got it while I was in the bathroom this morning, I ordered 4.
Oh,
Because,
jeez.
I take my eye off the remote. I don't watch my remote control all day.
No, you got other things to do.
Oh my goodness. I couldn't believe she got it on me, but she got another one.
Oh,
So
dear.
that'll be okay. I've got 4 coming. They'll be here tomorrow. So
Well, I appreciate everything you do too, Mama Cat. And like you said, it's probably easier if you just kind of stick to what you're doing. And yeah, rescue can be very toxic. I call myself Switzerland. I get messages all the time of people complaining about this, that, or the other person. And I'm just like, dear God, I'm become Ann Landers. But I
yeah.
just try to, my focus is, the dogs and the cats. Let's be clear. I do help cats too. And yeah, I just try to stay in my lane and try not to get involved with the drama, but there's so much of it.
Well, and see,
Just
Sadly.
overwhelming.
when
Yep.
I
I don't.
first started rescue, that's what I was told.
Oh, yes.
There's enough rescues in this town. You need to stay in your lane or
Oh
follow
my.
up.
Oh,
And I'm
come
like,
on.
no. You don't
Wow.
know who you're talking to, number one. Number two, no.
Wow, that's horrible. Well, good for
Yeah,
you for
so,
sticking with it.
and I got hell for fundraising because I came along and I'm stealing money out of their fundraisers.
Right. Yep.
And
Yep. I
whatever.
see that all the time, and I see that all the time, and yeah, it's horrendous.
It is
It's
because
mind-boggling.
we're all supposed to be here for the animals. I mean, that's
Mm-hmm.
what got us to this point. And you got to put that kind of. I mean, the animals don't care who comes and saves them, as long as somebody does.
And it's person that genuinely wants to save and help the animal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I don't do it to get on the news. I don't put my
Right?
stuff out there like they do. Oh, we
Yeah. Well,
saved
that's
14 cats this month. Yeah, well, I got 42.
Yeah, well, I've been bumping up against that. There's been some newer accounts, and Instagram has a new feature where you can add a person as a collaborator on your post, and I'm fine with that. But I get so many random people trying to add me as a collaborator, and I have to go, wait a second, I don't know who you are, I don't know what you're doing. I need to
Yeah,
sort of take a step back to see what the hell's going on. But then there's some people that are just they're so ego driven, and they're doing a lot of stuff. Listen, we're all doing great stuff. They're big
right.
volunteers and they're reprimanding people for sharing their videos, and I'm like, well, what's your purpose then? You want to just have your own channel, and just go on YouTube then, and have your own channel and broadcast from there, because the whole purpose, excuse me, of what we do is we repurpose posts, and like I said, we give attribution to the person, and there hasn't been anybody ever in my experience in 8 years doing this until this particular group came along. Actually, it's a one person, and I was just like, fine, like if you're going to reprimand, they actually reprimanded a fellow networker, which is whatever, it doesn't matter, but it's just sort of like, what's like, I don't understand where you're coming from. They said you must take our video down and all this nonsense, and my friend was just like, yeah, okay. And my friend has 100,000 followers, so you'd think that they'd want to kind of piggyback off that, but anyway, it's
Yeah, that's
it's it's
crazy.
ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
If
So,
you
That
don't
is
want it shared,
ridiculous.
don't put it out there.
right?
That's right.
It's
Wow. Okay,
Yeah.
ladies, I'm gonna go ahead and get this closed down. I'm gonna go
Okay. We
hour
could
and a
go on
half.
for days.
We
Exactly.
could.
Hey, they've been going a lot. There are several of them that go 2 hours and I couldn't believe it because the time goes fast.
It does, and
I mean,
yeah,
it
and
flies. Yeah.
Thank you
But
again, Debbie, for having me on, and I really appreciate and I appreciate everybody that's come on to listen. And I'm an open, if anyone, I have no ego. If you want to email me, if you need some help with anything, I'm always here. So,
awesome. Yes. And you know what? And She'll keep keep following me, and then the next time you come on, all you got to do is click in on the email
oh,
invitation from Podbean. You don't have to,
okay, it'll be.
get the account. You get it, but you this first time, because some of them, hey, it's not like I'm asking you to run around the block 3 times. you
Fair
know,
enough.
if people if they would read it and concentrate, you could get in here. It's not that difficult. So, but
Perfect. Well,
do
I
that.
thought it was pretty seamless. I just there was a lag on my end getting in, so yeah.
Yep. But glad you got in and everything. So,
Yeah,
uh,
thank you
and,
so much.
and feel free to join in any of my shows. That's what I tell all my
Yes,
former
I'm
guests.
sorry I missed the
You
last one
know,
that Spencer's on, and I've gone through and I've seen a few familiar people that you've had on as well, and I just have to make more time to be more in tune. I'm either on LinkedIn or I'm not. So sometimes I'm not on LinkedIn for a month or two because I just I really like to. There's so many articles I want to write and share on LinkedIn, and I just because I'm doing I have a very small team, I have to sort of stay. I have can't spread myself too thin, but I will definitely I'll definitely be looking at some more of your upcoming podcasts for sure. This was great.
oh, I love them. I mean, I just, you feel you're being a positive impact, and you're doing something positive. And when you see the victories come in, can't take credit, but when you're involved, it's a human chain reaction to
Yeah.
take action.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
and I will never have an ego, be on an ego trip. I never have, and I never
No,
will. I'm
no,
not
it's
in for competition. I'm in it for change.
I tell
Period.
people I'm
Yep.
hashtag for the animals, full
Yep.
stop. Don't bring your, nonsense
Yep.
drama. Keep it to yourself.
Yep.
And that's really what I try to stay in my lane and but I'll help anybody who's interested in, the bottom line, and that's to get the dog out.
That's
And
right.
cat.
And
And
take
cat.
and take and take take that action, everyone. In order to see change, you got to take action. And keep it up. And next week, we're going to have you. I think a lot of you might remember Daniel the Beagle that was survived in the gas chamber
Oh
back in
God, really?
20. Yes, October
Yeah.
2011, he survived it, and his
Oh my
dad
goodness.
is still advocating for different, for animals and everything. So he's going to be my guest next week, and we'll
Oh,
discuss it.
great.
Yes, because it was in a shelter, and
Mm-hmm.
there's still a gas chamber in
I can't.
Wyoming.
I
Ugh.
can't. I know it's the last
Whoa.
one. It's disgusting. I can't. I
Yes.
can't.
Yeah. Isn't that terrible?
It's
So
terrible.
so next week, 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central, 5 o'clock Mountain, and 4 o'clock Pacific. Everyone, join us listening worldwide, making our voices heard worldwide, and then join us because it's going to be another great show. And it's awesome how he's still out there advocating. He didn't give up. He didn't stop there. So get Wyoming to stop that gas chamber because it's cruel,
Oh gosh,
inhumane,
it's
and
disgusting.
brutal. It's disgusting. I have a petition. I just had it sharing it last week. I'm gonna be
Oh, okay.
sharing it. Yeah, I'll send it to you, um,
Yeah, please
Cheryl.
do.
But I can't
Yep.
thank you enough for coming on and looking
Oh,
forward
thank
to you
you.
coming back on again and again
Oh,
and
I look.
again.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
great. Anytime, Debbie. Anytime. I'm here to
Yep.
help, and I really, really appreciate the opportunity. I really do.
Yep. Hey, anytime. It's such an honor to have you on and stay in contact, okay?
I
Whether
will.
it's
I
Facebook
definitely
or
will.
LinkedIn, I love staying in contact with all my former guests because once you walk through the door, Voices Care for Animals, your family. The Voices
Oh,
Care
that's
for Animals
wonderful. I love it.
family,
Your
you
family
know?
now.
I'm
Yep. And
family.
thank
Oh,
you.
good. My
Yep.
family has expanded. I love it.
That's right. and, and we're going to keep it up. Mama Cat, thank you for all your support. She's a former guest. And we go back to 2018 or 2019, right, Mama
Oh,
Cat?
wow. That's
Yeah.
amazing. That's
She's
lovely.
filled in and everything, helped me out. My tag, I call my tag team.
Well, you know what? You if you ever need any help, Mama Bear, you just let me know. I
Oh,
might be
thank
able to
you.
help you out with some stuff.
Oh,
Just let me
thank you
know.
so much.
It's
Yeah.
my pleasure.
I believe in teamwork all the way, everyone. So,
Same.
another great show, and you know who makes these shows is all the former guests, the callers, the listeners, and it just goes, the list goes on because we're working together. We're being a team. We're being a super team. I couldn't ask for a better super team, everyone. On my super team that's in the chat room right now. Big shout out to all of you, and welcome Todd to the Voices Care for Animal podcast. We're getting ready to shut down here, but I want to thank you that's listening on the web right now, that's not in the web chat room, but thank you so much. And I will get this show. It's an early show today because Cheryl's calling in from the UK. And a big shout out to Spencer Hutch, the founder of Rebound Dog. He's been a guest several times. So I'm
Yeah,
going to make
Spencer's
sure.
great.
Yes, I was getting hold of him. I was trying to have him come in, this show and surprise you.
Oh,
But he had some issues going on. I said we
That
won't
would
oh
have
say
been
dear.
nothing.
good.
I said we won't say nothing. We'll surprise her. So,
Busted, Mama Bear. You're
oh
busted.
yeah, is that? Oh, and another thing I seen there too. You had an interview at All About Animals Radio with Gary Bauer, John Bowden. I
Oh, we
wonder.
love Gary.
Oh yeah, they excuse me. They shut down in February, I believe, but the John Bowden, he had the YouTube channel, okay, and his own, and he transferred it to Animal Advocates Radio, which has kept all his videos,
Oh
interviews,
wow.
and then added it to mine. I thought that was awesome. Him, I hope he comes back sometime, because I really miss him. He was a great team player too. But yep, he's wonderful. I said, come back, and Erica Salvaminia, Rising Lioness. I was interviewed by her, so that interview is on there. We had a great, great interview together. But anyway, everyone, thank you all for tuning in, and whoever's listening on from the app out there, on Podbean podcast app and player, thank you all for tuning in, and I hope you join us next week. And aloha. Thank you for tuning in. And Barbara, my buddy on Facebook, another one is Animal Warrior Sister, and Michelle. Michelle, thank you so much. I hope you get out of jail soon on Facebook. I don't mean to laugh, but I know what it's like. as, as so do you, Mama Cat.
I'll, I'll have to, I'll have to send her a get out of jail free card.
Because she got 30 days. I was like, whoa.
Oh crap! What'd she do? Bad,
Ah, bad girl, bad girl.
bad, Michelle.
But but anyway, Miss Shaw, I hope you do get out soon, okay? I don't mean to laugh or anything because I've been here one too many times. But anyway, thank you all for tuning in. And Facebook,
Thanks
leave us
again,
alone,
Debbie.
please. You
Appreciate it.
know, all right. And anyway, I'm shutting it down, Barbara. We'll catch up next week because an hour and a half. It's been an hour and 35 minutes. It was
There
like
you
it was
go.
going to be 2 hours. But thank you, everyone.
Thanks,
And then
Debbie.
time,
Thanks,
hey,
everybody.
stay in touch, Cheryl, please. That
I
would be
will do. I will
awesome.
do.
It has
I will do.
been an honor to have you on. Okay. All
Thank
right.
you so much. I
Thank you so
appreciate it.
much,
Thanks,
everyone.
everybody. Take
And
care.
Thanks,
yes, and thank
Cheryl.
you.
Thank
Mama
you, Mama
Cat,
Cat.
you ready?
We're
I'm
Paw in
going.
ready.
hand?
All
Go
Paw
right.
ahead.
in hand, united we stand against all animal cruelty and neglect across the land. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.
And good night to my mother, Moose, aka Pat Dahmer. She don't look like a moose, but she's a beautiful woman inside and out. Love you, Mom. Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Debbie. Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you. May God bless you all.
Good night, Debbie.
Good night. All in united we stand against all animal cruelty and neglect across the land. Everybody have a wonderful evening, everybody. Good night. Night,
Strength
Mama
in
Cat.
numbers, baby.
Got strength in numbers. Bye bye.
Bye.